Alabama as of now. Like I said, don't know. I mean, I'm sure Derrick Henry's going to leave and go to the NFL. But, however, I mean, things are strange sometimes. He could stay. Maybe he might own the Heisman. They might get eliminated. He might want to stay or something like that. And that could change everything. So we can't really – until the season's over in January, I have no idea where this kid's going to go. There's so many flips last year. There could be even more flips this year. I feel like there is going to be more just because a lot of guys are going to go under class and they're going to declare early. A lot of these juniors and sophomores probably going to be a record number again this year. So that's going to change everything in recruiting. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Dylan Crawford out of Rancho Santa Maria, one of his best targets, KD Costello, is, I think he's going to end up at UCLA. Could end up at Stanford with his running mate. Washington State is in the mix as well. But we'll see. He's a really good receiver, solid. Is he Craycraft or, any of those guys that they've had before? Kyle Sweet? No, not quite. But he has just as good as hands as those guys. Route running is solid, pretty clean. Just slow off the first go. Not a great blocker. Kind of Jordan Payton-ish. Tries really hard. Makes up for it with effort, but he's a good player. Carter Coughlin is Eden Prairie High School guy. I think he'll play inside, 6'3" to 24. He'll play inside. He could start at inside linebacker from day one. He could be one of those guys like Medcavage that play inside, outside, and going to be one of the most, decorated players at their school. He could be a sneaky guy like that. So look out for Carter Coughlin. Antonio Williams, North Carolina running back, is going to Ohio State. He is number 122. Paris Cobb, going to Oklahoma, is number 127. Travion Diggs, going to Alabama. His brother Stephon Diggs out of Maryland. Gaithersburg. Trevon Sidney, who we talked about on the show quite a bit. Bishop Lamont, going to USC. He's like Jackie Jones, but not as good to me. They're really similar receivers. I think he's going to be a good returner. Going to be a nice slot guy. Steve Smith type of guy, reminiscent of him maybe. Kind of has some, really good quickness to him, and with Max Brown and the quarterback they have behind him, I don't know. Kind of going back to the big pocket guys, they're going to do a lot of stuff on the center. They run the ball. They're going to run the ball more. So that is going to be a lot of 3 wide receiver sets instead of 4. So that third wide receiver is going to be huge. He's going to rack up a lot more yards than he's been because it's not going to be as spready. Shavar Manuel is 130, which I was surprised about. I know he was banged up a little bit this year. He's gotten a lot bigger. A lot of people don't like him inside. When he came into the season, I believe he was 6'3", 256 pounds. Now he's about 3'10", 6'3". So kind of weird moving his position totally before the season even ends. But that's how it happens sometimes. It really does. So we'll see what happens to him. Like I said, I don't think he should have dropped that far. He's still playing good at his new position. But he did drop to 130. Jordan Parker's 129 too, by the way, another Oklahoma commit. Oklahoma's got a lot of 4-stars. Now, a 5-star school, like you may think, Bob Stoops does a good job, man. Really does. People don't give him quite enough credit sometimes, to be honest. If he wins the national championship this year, man, he could go down in history as one of the best coaches in college football history. He really could. Really good job what he's doing with the walking quarterback. And they only have 1 5-star on that whole team. I know they have a bunch of 4-stars, so they're 1 5-star, Joe Mixon, that's it. So that's interesting. They have the least amount of 5-stars. They're kind of an underdog. Nobody's really rooting for them. Everybody's pointing to Alabama, or Michigan State because they're kind of the underdog. But, well deserved. I'll say that for Oklahoma this year. But the recruiting class is great. They could actually possibly still steal a guy. Shane Simmons. He's committed to Penn State right now. Looking pretty good on that commitment. He's been committed to him for a while. But, however, I don't know. I mean, he could waiver and go to Ohio State, go to Oklahoma, what that. Don't think he'll go to Maryland. We'll see what their coach can do. I don't think he wants to stay at home, though. But Shane Simmons, 137. D. Anderson at DeSoto, going to LSU, big speedster. He's number 139. Brandon Peters is 140. It's funny he's not 140 because got a lot of flack about, I had him so low. That was my main complaint from everybody was just too low. Ramos pretty much has him in a good spot, man. He's a good quarterback, plays Avon High School in Indiana, put up a lot of big numbers, top 5, top 10 numbers in the country. Did really good at Elite 11, probably a top 5 there. However, he plays in an offense that's spready, air raidy, almost to a certain point, and he's going to Michigan. I don't know, man. That offense they don't want to play him early on. I'll say that. I don't think Brandon Peters is going to be the guy you want to start early on. I think you want to go, obviously Rudock's going to be gone, but I think you want to go with the kid from Houston that transferred or the kid from Purdue that transferred, something like that. Just because I'm worried, to be honest, if this guy, Brandon Peters, starts day one, it might hurt him. You're basically running a pro-style offense. You're going from a spread offense to pro-style. We know how hard that is for NFL guys. It's almost as hard for high school guys sometimes. And I'm not saying his mental makeup is great, but I think it might be a little bit of a tough thing for him to do. And Jake Rutherford's playing great right now. So that's kind of, if you set the bar not too high, not too low, though. Put average, maybe a little bit above average. So, he coached Andrew Luck, so there's going to be high Jason Swallows quarterbacks. But he comes in at 140. It's well-deserved, and he had a great year. Definitely deserves State Player of the Year. Julian Rochester is number 142 from Georgia. Caven, really, not Calvin, his little brother, though, from Deerfield Beach, is number 141. Chris Barnes from Liberty High School in Bakersfield is 144. Marquez Holloway, who kind of plays both sides of the ball, just underdeveloped right now. He's not as good as he will be or can be. But he's really good. So I'm playing person out of Warren Robins, Georgia, 6'2", 171. But he's number 145. Nathan Smith, Marietta, California. Mesa, Marietta, 6'7", almost 6'8", 276 pounds. Could easily probably play basketball at SC, but he's going to be a football player, and he's a really good one to watch. Armani Bledsoe, Valence, Kansas, is a player to watch. I don't think he's going to stay at Kansas. They're just not good enough, honestly, for him to go to. Sean McGrew is at 160. Brady Breeze, Oregon. Deontay Mullis is 165, another really good player in Miami. But, I mean, we'll get into the whole top 250. I'm going on and on and on. But there's a lot of good players in this class. Looking at the top 250 for all, it's deep, really deep class. All 250 of these guys are at least 4 or 5. There's no big drop-off until you get around 310 maybe, and then you start to get to the 3 middle of the pack. This is a deep class. Not a superstar really, except for Rashawn Gary. Like I said, I think Dexter Lawrence can be. Shea Patterson. There's a bunch of could be superstars, but the only guaranteed guy for me is Rashawn Gary. But it's a deep class, and it's going to be fun. I think we've been joined by Ryan Swartz.
Yes, I'm here, Donovan. How you doing?
I'm pretty good, man. Thanks for joining us again tonight. I told the listeners we're going to have you on a different time than normal, a little bit later, which is fine. I went into my top 25, like I do every week, in my top 4, and I guess we'll kind of go back and forth with our rankings. A lot changed, obviously, over the weekend.
Yeah.
So, I mean, let's get into it, I guess, man. Let's skip my stuff. I mean, I went into a few things, like I said, top 25, and I didn't get into my Gatorade Player of the Year yet, but I went into the Rival 50. But let's get into your top teams and things that happen. I guess I'll start you off with the California State playoffs and the Pac-5. For Centennial, St. John Bosco.
Yeah. Centennial, it seemed like all the top publications had number 1, St. John Bosco. handling Centennial and on their way to the state championship, but Centennial had other plans. They won 62-52. Really wasn't that close at halftime. It was 55-31. Centennial had a big lead, 24-point lead at halftime. St. John Bosco's quarterback, Quentin Davis, went down in the first quarter, definitely played a big factor in the game. Sophomore quarterback Real Mitchell came in and played very well in his absence. Personally, I think that Quentin Davis plays the whole game. It might be a different story, and maybe St. John Bosco comes out on top. But credit to Centennial, putting up 62 points on a defense that was stellar all year in St. John Bosco. So to start the second half, Bosco held Centennial. They forced them to punt twice in a row and then turn the ball over on downs. That was the golden opportunity for St. John Bosco to get back in the game, but they just ended up trading touchdowns with Centennial in the third quarter. Got a couple more touchdowns in the fourth to make it a little more respectable, but in the end, a 10-point win for Centennial. I mentioned last week on your show that it was interesting in the modern-day Centennial game to see how different Centennial's offense moves when it has to start chewing clock, and they found themselves in that same situation again and only had 7 points to show in the second half. So very telling when that hurry-up, up-tempo, no-huddle attack slows it down. A little different rhythm seems to put them out of sorts. So that held to be true again, but still enough, 62-52, like I mentioned. So Centennial knocking off the top team for me moves up to number 1. So I have Centennial at 1, Bishop Gorman close behind at 2. Bishop Gorman, I believe, would be my team to slide into number 1 if Centennial falls to De La Salle next week. So Centennial, Bishop Gorman, Allen at 3. Colquitt County has done enough for me to move them up to 4. I would put it's tough to put a one-loss California team in front of Katy, but I have De La Salle and Bosco in front of Katy. I think after Katie's next 2 games, they'll have done enough to get over the hump and maybe into the top 4. But just a real down regular season schedule for Katy. So for me, I know they have a stellar defense and just really good scores, but a lower, lesser strength of schedule to start the year. I have them at 7 and then IMG right behind. So I know you said top 4, but I had to throw those nice programs in there.
No problem at all, man. Actually, like I said, I'll read off mine. I mean, I have Bishop Gorman back at 1. I moved Bosco up. The first week I had a change last week and they lost, so maybe I should just keep Gorman at 1. But no, they're 1. Corona Centennial 2. And like I mentioned before earlier, Ryan, I think if they beat De La Salle, they'll be my number 1 team. I don't see Colquitt County moving past who I have at 4, and I don't see Allen quite moving past, unless, though, however, I guess you could say, they blow out. I think that they can blow out Westlake and Austin. I don't think they will, but I think they can. Just like Corona can blow out De La Salle if they wanted to. It's probably not going to happen, but it could.
Yeah.
I think Allen, if they beat Westlake maybe by 21 points, something like that, and then win the next game, they can be number 2 possibly at least, if not 1. Going off of what they did last year and then this year, really the last 4 years, will be great. So that's my top 4. Bishop, Gorman, Corona Centennial, Allen, and Colquitt County, who, I mean, that Roswell game is going to be fun for people watching that at the Georgia Dome. It's going to be a really good game. Roswell snuck up on me. I didn't think they had it in them to win that game last week, but they did. And then, I have Katy at 5 and De La Salle at 6. Male at 7 and St. Edward at 8. St. Edward had a really good win over Wayne. People were hyped. I'm sure you saw that one. We saw the scores at least. So, I mean, a lot of teams. And then I did want to say congratulations to Male just because, another state title for them. I think they have a lot of juniors, and that could be a team that could be preseason top 10 and maybe win a national title. I don't think a team from Kentucky's ever won a mid-school national title. Trinity finished the highest, I think it was 3 in the country. So, Yeah, I mean, I got to give them a little love out of Kentucky, you know, just because they completed the gauntlet. The gauntlet in Kentucky is harder than people think.